Ready for some more Killerball boyos? The challenge where we use all 43 killers in any order you like and try to capture as many unique survivors as you can in order to complete your collection in your survivor decks. Last time, we had a pretty good match with the Lich. We managed to get 2 unique captures with Meg and Shane, just to follow it up with a abysmal game with Henry, where we got outplayed by the survivors. We failed to capture the Nancy, and we ended up getting 1 Sable Candy by the player's hubris. Now it's time for the Resident Evil villains with Wesker and Nemesis, and let me tell you, the games get really close by reaching endgame without getting a single survivor out. So we're getting ready to start with our first game with the Mastermind, aka Wesker, which honestly is not one of my strongest killers. I don't really do well with survivors with a dash ability. So let's hope I can make something happen in the first match of the day. We start up in the rodent fields, and this map, I mean, I do bad with survivors sometimes, and as killer, I don't really like it. I don't know if it's just because I can see really well, but the corn really messes me up. Luckily for me, I start this first chase with Steve, that is a survivor I'm missing. And this match is really interesting because it has a lot of stakes for me as a killer, because we're missing Adam, Steve, and the Nancy. So we managed to do a good performance. We might end up with 2 brand new captures. And since I already did a quick down with Stevie, we're still 5 gens left. I'm feeling a little confident at the start of the game, but as soon as I see a Nancy, if you've been following the series so far, you already know that Nancy has been one of those survivors that manages to escape. I think it's been 3 Nancys already that we had encountered, and we have not captured one. One of them DC'd, the other ones we got frankly outplayed, especially in the last episode. One match ago, we encountered one of the best Nancys we found in the challenge so far. But I think I'm getting on a bit of a reset this time around. I'm getting some good dashes. We're infecting some survivors, especially the Steve. But in this match, you will see a common feature that I get really tunnel vision on the Nancy. And also, I tend to leave chases a little early, on my opinion. I could have followed the chase a bit better in the Steve back there, but I decided to prioritize that gen. I figure since it's a gen in the open, might as well get it protected as good as I can. And over here, I speed up the camera because I don't want to let you experience the torment in the same fashion I did by going around loops around this cow tree multiple times. And this is a good thing that I get outplayed so hardly on this style, because it forced me to get better. As you can see, I don't use Wesker that much, so when I try to use my dashes around the corner, I get a little bit stuck. So instead of that, I was trying to go for a bloodlust play. Luckily, I ended up getting the Nancy down, and my heart almost sinks when I saw the flashlight. If I would have gotten a save, I don't know. I might have tilted me all over the edge. And when I try to prioritize getting proxy camp, I end up missing both survivors, both the Nancy and the Adam. And it's really common for Weskers to run brutal strength for the reason you just saw. If you break pallet faster, you can catch up survivors faster with your dashes. But that ended up not being the case. So I was trying to protect that gen by the shack, and I immediately betrayed my own advice by following the Nancy. Like I said, I tend to get tunnel vision because at this point, since there's been plenty of Nancys that have escaped my match, I'm really trying to capture this one just to get it out of my mind. And we got endgame. That Nancy is moving a little bit faster. Turns out she had adrenaline, but the Terminus perk actually managed to counter that perk sort of. So I see the Adam here around here. So I decided to go for a tag, even though I'm still tunnel vision on the Nancy, because I figured since I have Terminus, I mean, getting hits means they won't be able to heal as easily. If I finish this chase, they still have to open both exit gates. And I managed to get the down. And when I'm breaking this pallet, I hear that the exit gates are open. So I try to get a still proxy camp this Nancy. I try to hook her as far away from the doors as I can. And right here I'm standing to protect the hook, and Aran comes for a 1-for-1, which makes me a little bit nervous because normally you want to do a 2-man save in endgame. And I'm fearing that Aram might have Deliverance since one of his other perks, they tend to run it pretty much. And when I'm practically face camping, I can see that both injured survivors are already healed, so I pretty much know they're going to push for a 3-man save. I found the Sable and Anansi rotating around, but it turns out that the Steve goes from the other side, so the uncle gets pretty much uncontested. The only good thing I have going for me right now is that even their 4 survivors are coming for hit tanks. The gates are really far away. I managed to hit Adam with the Sable, and I'm thinking if I manage to injure the Nancy, I might cut him off guard. So I try to go for a dash against the Adam. He dodges me, but it's not that bad for me because I end up getting a better position towards the gate. And the only healthy survivor is Nancy, so I try to go for Adam, but she hits tanks. So 3 of the survivors get out, but luckily the Steve ends up getting zoned out. And I get both a cinematic Mori and also a fresh capture here, because at least I'm missing the Steve for my collection, so this game ended up not being a complete waste, in my opinion. Nice brick wall, bro. So I mean, since I'm using a lot of survivors I haven't touched in a while, getting at least one fresh capture is more than I can hope. So I'm still glad it happened. And the game with the Wesker is over. It's time to switch out for the Nemesis. And let's see how many survivors I managed to catch with his infection mechanic. All right, so we're in the Dead Dog Saloon. And luckily, I get to use one of my perks, Little Pursuer, right off the bat, so I already know where they are rotating to do gens. And I'm using the Liquor Stone add-on that hinders a survivor when they get infected. And I get a double tap right off the bat on this gate. I'm tier 2 Nemesis already, and if you've used the killer before, you already know I'm gonna be able to break pallets with my power, which is a good thing to get it right off the bat in first chase. Here I managed to zone out the Kane a little bit, and this down ended up being really early in the game. But as if you heard before, this main gen is really high progress so far. And by the time I come up to check it, the Kate is not only unhooked but fully healed. So I decided to prioritize going against this Jake. And in this chase, I guess it was time to tell you that out of all 43 killers in the challenge, Nemesis is one of the ones that I'm kind of experienced in using. The same as the Oni, I tend to use him during the 2v8 mode quite a bit. So I'm kind of used to using the tentacle power. I'm used to kind of doing the drag tech, that use your tentacle, but the hitbox lingers a little bit, so you manage to get another hit. Felix is a survivor we already have, so the bad thing about this challenge is that all 4 survivors are duplicate. I mean, both the Jake, the double Kates, and the Felix I've already captured before. But still, if I manage to do well, this might put me in a good place, Sable candy-wise. And over here, I was going back and forth on the street because I saw the Kate was on the top of the balcony in main, but I was also trying to pressure the other gen. Luckily, she gets hit by a zombie that was patrolling inside the main gen, the main building, I mean. And here, I'm trying to hit the Felix. Luckily, if you have both the pallet and the survivor close by, the hitbox actually prioritizes hitting the survivor first instead of breaking the pallet, so I managed to get the Felix down. And over here, I'm just dishing out infection stacks, hitting the Kate, hitting the Jake, downing the Felix. I'm already back on the hook. And this Felix actually comes for a hit tank instead of running away. So you know what? I take that as how can we say it? Like it's okay for him if I tunnel him out. I ended up not doing it anyways because I found the Kate in a bad position and might as well drop destroy Killer Shack palette now. And this chase with the Jake is actually one that manages to stop the bleeding on the survivor side a little bit because I missed my first tentacle strike. I was trying to assume that he was gonna dodge, and he's not really dodging. Sometimes he does, sometimes he just does holds W, and it's kind of drawing me off a little bit. I'm playing in the anniversary tile and I'm missing my hits quite a bit. Over here, what I should have done is, well, I managed to get the hit on the Jake, but he's moving in a way that makes me go for the tentacle strike without hitting the pallet as well. So what I should have done is try to position myself a little bit better. So in case I miss the Jake, at least I managed to break the pallet. That ends up extending the chase unnecessarily a bit more. So I needed to down him with an M1. But as you can see, I'm 1 gen left and my 3 gen split is pretty far apart. Luckily, when I'm patrolling the gens, this Felix falls right into my arms, and since he's already dead on hook, I figure, you know what? Might as well get him out of the game. Hook him here, get my one sable candy for this match. And I patrolled the gens a little bit before, and the one by Gallows is like 10% maybe. The one in the back is maybe like 15%. And the other red one is at 0 when I first started the chase. So I figure, you know what? I got time. Might as well chase this Jake to the end of the world, even though I just got hit by a dead heart. So I figure, you know what? I got him down. Let me pick him up, try to get him hook as close as I can to the other 2 gens. But as I'm carrying him around, they finished the other gen that had 0 progress when I ended the chase. And I saw the scratch marks. I'm looking around to find the survivor, and I figured there's no shot during this locker. Turns out she was. Then ended up going for a grab, and I figured, you know what? They doubled this gen. So the other cage should be crossing the street right about now to either go for the gate or for the unhook. Turns out my prediction was correct this time around. And this gate is not really good at dodging my tentacle strikes. It's the one I double tap in the beginning of the game. So this game is pretty much over. There's nothing the Jay can do. I doubt the Kate has Unbreakable, so I decided to prioritize this chase with the Jake. It's not that far away from the slug anyways. And I already know Jake has that card, so I have all the time in the world to wait for it. And even though it got a little bit dicey towards the end, I mean, I had 4 survivors alive when 1 gen was still up. So I made the zombie pay the ultimate price for that. I ended up with 4 sable candies. So this is a nice reset after last episode where I had some tilt in my mind. This game kind of makes me bounce back a little bit because this is still the same gaming session, the still gaming session with the Oni games, the Vecna games, and now the Resident Evil games. And it's still gonna go on for a while. So it's nice to have this game of sort of like a mental reset. So let's check the survivor deck, shall we? We ended up getting a 4K with Nemesis. Sadly, no new captures. Wesker managed to at least get us the Steve, which I appreciate. And on the survivor side of things, I managed to get more sable candies for both Kate, Jake, and right now the counter is incorrect. We have a total number of 30 captures so far, so the 29 is incorrect. The sable candies are good though. So just so you know, this might be something that drags on during the series. Bye.